I posted a photo of my son on Facebook. He just earned his PhD in archaeology. I wrote, 2 years since I last saw him. I miss my son. Suddenly, a woman popped up in the comments shouting angrily, "What kind of thing are you? Why are you posting pictures of my son? Do you have no shame?" I was totally confused and DM'd her asking if she'd mistaken me for someone else. My son is an archaeologist who's already won tons of awards even though he's still young. But then she screenshotted my private message and posted it with a bunch of pictures of her and my son to prove they were connected. Who the hell are you trying to impersonate? Don't even look in the mirror. How could you possibly have such an outstanding son? Netizens flooded the comments, laughing at me. These days, people are so self-deceptive they'll even claim to be another person's mother. Are you kidding me? I turned to look at my son, who had just come home covered in dirt from working all day. I tapped his forehead. Stinky kid. Where did you find another mom? Chapter 1. While organizing old photos at home, I came across a picture of my son from 2 years ago when he earned his archaeology PhD. Feeling nostalgic, I took the photo and shared it on Facebook with the caption, "It's been 2 years since I last saw my son. I miss him." I don't have many followers on Facebook, just a few regulars who like and comment on my posts. The comments were all friendly. "Your son is so talented. He's so handsome too. I bet he looks just like you. Beautiful mom." I smiled and replied politely, then closed Facebook and went back to organizing the photos. But when I checked again, there were hundreds of new comments. My private messages were flooded with a $9.99 plus notification. The top comment came from a user called Proud Woman Who Snapped. "Who do you think you are? Why did you post my son's photos? Have you no shame? Are you crazy to pretend to be a mother? Can't you just have your own kid?" The photo showed her with a young man. He looked exactly like my son, even the mole by his eye was in the exact same spot. The comments below went wild. What kind of person pretends to be someone else's mom? Don't you know, he's not just some regular kid? He's the youngest archaeologist ever. Someone mentioned, at a common little stone. I was totally confused and clicked the link right away. A common little stone, the profile picture was actually my son. When did he get a Facebook account? I didn't know. His account only has a few posts about his archaeology work. I quickly skimmed through them, closed the page, then went to check Proud Woman's profile. Her profile showed she had tens of thousands of followers, with archaeologist's mom written in her bio. This made me even more puzzled. Does she know my son? Or had my son asked her to be his godmother? No way. My son wouldn't do that. Her comments section was flooded with praise from internet users. "Is your son Alexis, the one who won an international award for his paper? Such an honor to meet the mom of an archaeologist. Your son is so handsome. Are you looking for a daughter-in-law? I volunteer. I heard their team is amazing. They even filled a gap in a city's history. He's so handsome and talented. I'd love to have a child with him." Although I was angry that this person pretended to be me, I was still pretty happy to see all the nice things people said about my son and his team. But I immediately DM'd Proud Woman to get the truth. "My son is an archaeologist. Do you know him? How come you've got pictures with him? Why are you saying you're his mom?" Proud Woman didn't reply. Instead, she took a screenshot of my message and posted it with some photos. "Who are you? And how dare you pretend to be me? Don't even dare look in the mirror. How could someone like you have such an amazing son? I wasn't going to deal with you, but you had the nerve to DM me and start questioning me. How dare you?" The photos showed her and my son together. Some were photos of them smiling together for the camera. Some were selfies she secretly took with my son while he was working. The last photo was a selfie she took just minutes ago. The background showed my son resting on the couch with his eyes closed. As she mentioned, I couldn't share a recent photo of my son because he'd been working on an archaeology project in a remote area for the past 2 years. The signal in the mountains was so bad that I haven't been able to reach him for ages. That's why seeing this old photo today made me miss the past so much. While I was still confused, the post suddenly blew up across the city. Hashtag stealing the archaeologist's son and hashtag fake mom shameless quickly trended. The hashtags exploded with even more comments. Numerous onlookers eagerly mention me. Such a talented young man. No wonder everyone wants to be his mom. At Apple Pie, you've got some nerve pretending to be an archaeologist's mom. What's your problem? At Apple Pie, how could you act like you're their mom when their real mom has photos to prove it? You should be ashamed. Tried to act like his mom, but got caught by the actual one. How embarrassing. At Apple Pie, you should apologize to Proud Woman for trying to steal her son. How shameless. The comments made my hands tremble with anger. I angrily typed, "Who are you? Why do you have so many photos of him? Why are you pretending to be his mom?" But my messages wouldn't go through. She blocked me. Chapter 2. I sat on the bed, totally confused. I called my son right away, but his phone was off, just like I thought. He must still be in the mountains with bad signal. I hung up the phone and wondered, did my ex-husband, who I divorced years ago, find a new partner? Is that why this woman claims Alexis is her son? I was full of doubts and immediately called my ex-husband. It was late at night, but he quickly answered. "Laura, what's up? Why are you calling me now?" I didn't have time for chit-chat and blurted out, "Did you get married again?" His voice was startled on the other end. "No, I haven't." "How could I remarry? You know I still—" "All right, never mind." I hung up before he could finish. I glanced at my computer screen and thought, maybe it's just some stupid people online? There's no need to waste time arguing with them. I'll handle this after contacting my son. A few days later, I accidentally found the woman's live stream. She was shamelessly promoting products as the archaeologist's mom, with my son's photo in the background. This is not okay. My son has always been private. How dare she use his photos this way? And she wasn't even his real mother. I immediately went to the comments and confronted her. "You're a liar. Why are you pretending to be my son's mom? Why are you using his photo to sell stuff here?" I kept copying and sending the same message over and over, flooding the screen. When she saw this, her face twisted in anger, and she let out a scream. This is the woman pretending to be my son's mother. She actually followed me from Facebook to my live stream. The live stream's viewers and fans went wild, flooding the chat with insults. "How dare you be so shameless? Alexis already posted on Facebook supporting his real mother. You're acting like a mad dog chasing her into the live stream. There has to be a limit to using someone else's fame." I was totally confused. I quickly left the live stream and opened Facebook. I was shocked to find an account pretending to be my son had posted something the previous night. "An ordinary little pebble at Apple Pie. Maybe you didn't mean to, but please stop pretending to be my mom. I only have one mom, and that's her Proud Woman. This couldn't be my son. Absolutely not." I clenched my fists angrily, jumped back into the live stream, and shouted, "What do you want? You're not only pretending to be me, but even got someone to fake being my son and post on Facebook. What are you after?" On the screen, the woman clutched her chest angrily. "Oh my God. Are you crazy? Even if my son is amazing, you can't just go after him like that." She pretended to cough, acting like she was really upset. At that moment, the live chat exploded. This woman is mentally unstable. Maybe her son died, so she keeps claiming other people's children as her own. I bet she didn't just lose her son. She lost her entire family. Someone in the comments started a wave, flooding the comments section with messages. "Everyone, let's ban the comments. Apple Pie is a shameless fake. Drop dead." Suddenly, insults flooded the entire comment section. They weren't just lying about me. They were even insulting my son. I furiously typed responses, but every time I tried to defend myself, my comments would get drowned out by a flood of new ones. I was trembling with anger. Meanwhile, the woman on the screen calling herself Alexis' mom had magically returned to her cheerful self, laughing like a blooming flower. Thank you so much, everyone. We're incredibly lucky to have amazing supporters like you. Let's just ignore her and move on to the next item. This dinosaur dig toy was my son's favorite growing up, which is exactly why he loves archaeology so much. This usually costs over $30, but today I'm feeling generous. You can grab it for just $29.90. Hurry up and grab it. 3, 2, 1. The link is live. Angrily, I reported the live stream for fake ads and pretending to be someone else. But soon after, I got a message from customer service. Your complaint was denied. The streamer has verified their identity, and there are no problems with false advertising or fake identities. Seeing that woman's smug, triumphant smile on the screen, I clenched my fists. How did her fake identity pass the check? She was clearly a fraud. My son is good and honorable. He shouldn't have his name dragged through the mud by someone like her. All right, since the official way isn't working, I'll show everyone who she really is. Chapter 3. I chose to go live and face her head-on. Since you claim to be Alexis's mom, let's talk live and sort out what's really happening. The woman sneered disdainfully. All right, since there are so many people watching the live stream today, I'll show everyone you're a fake and put an end to this right here. I struggled to stay calm and shot back. Since you say you're his mom, tell everyone where he is and what he's doing right now. The woman seemed to think my question was laughable. My son is an archaeologist, so of course he's working. He's in X county, X city, where they found a 3,000-year-old human civilization. You're lying, I said coldly. Their team's work has always been top secret. Nothing gets out until everything's finished. Even family members aren't allowed to mention it. Finally, different opinions started appearing in the comments. Yeah, how can someone just leak something like that? Even if they told their families, they shouldn't just announce it to everyone, right? This is basically ruining her own son's career. The woman's face faltered for a moment, but she stayed calm again right away. Sorry, my son told me himself. Their team has finished this archaeological dig and is heading back to X City. Her answer shocked me to the core. I didn't know if she was just making things up or actually had insider information. If it was the former, okay. But if it was the latter, that's really creepy. The work my son's team does is confidential. If their every move is known and publicly spread, that's definitely not a good thing. I could no longer remain calm. I couldn't keep pressing with such sensitive questions. When I went quiet, the woman laughed even more victoriously. Well, these dumb questions aren't helping. Let's do this. We'll each call his team members and see who's actually lying. Before I could react, she quickly dialed a number and turned on the speaker. Hi Kevin, it's Alexis's mom. I just wanted to see how he's been doing. After a short pause, someone spoke on the other end. Hello, Alexis is doing well. He's the youngest on the team, and we all take good care of him, so there's no need to worry. They said a few polite words and hung up. Once again, the comment section was flooded with comments from her fans. Look, even the team leader confirmed it. What else is there to say? Imposters. I told you Alexis's mom wasn't lying. A mom as pretty and fun as her must have a son as amazing as Alexis. This faker's voice sounds terrible. She must be an ugly monster in real life. Ugly people are always stirring up trouble, ha. Of course, a few sensible viewers chimed in, but their comments were completely drowned out by an endless flood of mindless fan posts. With most now on her side, the woman grew cocky and full of herself. She stared at the screen with a sneering smile and said to me, Hey, your turn to call. I froze. I don't have any contact information from my son's team, not even the team leaders, because he never talks about his work with me. He would never give me his coworkers' personal numbers. And whenever my son was sent on a mission, he'd call to tell me he's safe. I never disturb him. What should I do? Just as I was stuck, my phone suddenly rang. Chapter 4. When I saw the incoming call from my ex-husband Samir, I realized it was a WeChat voice call. He hadn't been in touch much over the years, so I thought there must be something important and answered right away. But I forgot to mute the microphone. Hello, what's wrong? Samir immediately noticed something was wrong with my voice and got nervous. What's wrong? Your voice sounds different. When you called the other day, something seemed off. What happened? I had been feeling a bit sick these past few days, and my voice was indeed more hoarse than usual. But today, the thing that bothered me more was these people's behavior. I quickly explained what was happening, and Samir got just as mad. This is a scammer pretending to be Alexis's mom selling products on a live stream. Did you try calling Alexis? How did they get to know him? I couldn't reach Alexis. I said a few more words, feeling down, then hung up. When I looked at my phone screen, I realized I'd forgotten to turn off the mic. Arguments were breaking out in the comment section. Sounds like Alexis's dad called. Could she actually be his real mom? There's hardly any information about Alexis online. How can we be sure? From their conversation, it doesn't sound fake. What's really going on? Anyway, I believe the streamer because her son even posted on Twitter to support her. Agreed, support the host. Just then, a middle-aged man appeared suddenly in the live stream. The woman quickly grabbed his arm and introduced him to everyone. Everyone, this is my husband. He's Alexis's dad too. The chubby man wrapped his arm around the woman's waist and kissed her cheek. Sweetheart, is that woman pretending to be our son's mom bothering you again? The woman put on a hurt expression. Yes, after all the love we poured into raising our son, now someone else is claiming him as theirs. Wah. The man comforted her gently, and they both pretended to be deeply in love in front of the camera. The clueless fans instantly forgot their earlier confusion and gushed over the couple's loving relationship. They said Alexis must have such a warm and loving family. It's no wonder he became such a successful PhD. Everyone eagerly kept placing orders until the entire shopping cart was emptied. Seeing this, I didn't want to argue with them anymore. It was all just ridiculous. Samir and I divorced many years ago. For all these years, I was the only one raising Alexis by myself. I worked full-time, took on side jobs, and made sure he had everything he needed to get through school and become a doctor in the end. Now that my son had finally achieved what he worked for, I could finally relax. But now, this person suddenly appeared and tried to claim my son as their own. Even if she was just acting crazy online, I wouldn't let that happen. So I quickly typed a short message on the screen. Since you won't stop, fine. I'm calling the police. Chapter 5. When I saw the police alert pop up, I noticed the woman's eyes flicker with panic. Suddenly, I was kicked out of the live stream. So she was guilty after all. I smirked at my phone screen, packed my things, and was ready to go to the police station. But just as I reached the door, I saw red paint splattered all over my front door. The dark red spread across the door in large eerie patches, dripping like blood. My heart skipped a beat. I looked around immediately, but didn't spot anyone suspicious. I immediately connected this to the woman online pretending to be me. This wasn't just a minor problem. It was a crime. Right then, my phone suddenly rang. A message from an unknown number made my blood run cold. Stay out of this. If people find out about this mess, your family's safety and your good name will be ruined. A blatant threat. I gripped my phone until my knuckles turned white, suddenly feeling cold sweat break out on my palms. She didn't want me to call the police. In fact, she seemed scared that I would. That's why she used this way to shut me up. What nerve! But thinking about how close she seemed to Alexis and how she kept getting photos of him, I felt a cold shiver down my spine. I didn't know who she was or what her connection to Alexis was. I was worried Alexis might be in danger. I couldn't take any chances. I hesitated, then stopped in front of the door and took a deep breath. I finally went back to my room, feeling frustrated and helpless. No matter what, I had to wait until I heard from Alexis and knew he was safe before taking the next step. I kept calling Alexis, but every time it went straight to voicemail. Anxiety filled me as I sat in my room. I couldn't focus. Just then, my ex-husband Samir called on the phone. Laura, I got tickets to X City. Come meet me at the station. Since we can't reach Alexis, let's check his job site and see what's happening. I'll wait for you there. Everything became clear to me all at once. Why didn't I think of going to Alexis's workplace? I was panicking and reacting without thinking clearly. Alexis worked in a nearby city, just a 2-hour ride on the high-speed train. I immediately started packing my bag to go to the train station. But just as I was about to leave, I heard the door open and the sound of a key turning in the lock. My mind went blank and my body froze. I was the only one with a house key. Who was it? The door burst open. My son, who I hadn't seen for 2 years, suddenly showed up. He wore a windbreaker with slightly messy hair. He looked exhausted, like he had traveled a long way to get here. As soon as he saw me, his eyes lit up. "Mom." The heavy rock in my heart finally dropped away. But the next moment, her excitement turned into worry and anger. I rushed over and smacked his forehead without a word. "You little troublemaker. Where did you find another mom?" My son was completely stunned and looked at me, confused. "Another mom? Did you get me a stepmom or something?" "Oh, right. Our team leader told me you called him." "Did you? Is something wrong at home?" I heard something happened and hurried back, but just noticed my phone died and turned off by itself. Seeing my son like this, I was completely certain this proud woman was definitely a liar. I quickly pulled out my phone and showed him the photos I'd saved from her Facebook. "Then tell me what's going on with these photos? Who is this woman? Why are there pictures of you two together?" He took the phone, glanced at the photos, and his face instantly clouded over. "She's just a nut job." My son explained everything to me in just a few simple sentences. Apparently, this woman was a helper cook for the archaeology team. At first, she was kind to everyone and kept saying they were top experts in the country. She'd never met anyone with a PhD before, so she kept asking to take photos with them. They were just a few photos, no big deal. But it turned out she wanted to use these photos to set her daughter up with someone. Her daughter liked my son, and she tried to set them up. However, my son wasn't interested in dating anyone because he was completely focused on his work. Over time, he began keeping his distance from her. A few days ago, while he was napping in the lounge, she sneaked in and took a selfie with him. When the camera shutter clicked, my son woke up. Not only did she not apologize, but she kept saying he was going to be her son-in-law anyway, so why worry? My son angrily kicked her out and reported what happened to his bosses. As a result, the woman got fired. After that, I never saw her again. Who knew she'd even dare to pretend to be you? My son was really angry. That's not my Facebook account either. She not only pretended to be you, but also made a fake account acting like me. She's completely nuts. Hearing this, I was finally relieved. Honestly, I was really worried she might have some connection to my son. But even so, I wasn't going to let her get away with it. "Let's call the police," my son said firmly. "Didn't you say she was using my identity to sell products? A scammer like her must have tricked so many people. And the red paint on the door, if she really did it, she can't get away with that." We agreed right away and immediately headed to the police station. But then I realized I had forgotten something. What was it again? Whatever. I'll figure something out later. Chapter 7. My son and I went to the police station. We told the police everything that happened in the last few days. The police told me to stay calm and promised to look into the case quickly. In the meantime, I created a new account and rejoined the live stream. To my surprise, the woman still hadn't learned her lesson. She kept using the Dr. Mom title to sell her products. However, the photos of my son in the background had disappeared, and the ones on her social media were deleted too. She even shamelessly told her fans she doesn't want to use her son for profit or let any delusional women try to get close to him. I knew her days were numbered like a grasshopper in late autumn. She wouldn't be hopping around much longer. I had already saved screenshots of everything she deleted from her Facebook and live streams. I gave all the evidence to the police. Soon enough, 2 police officers popped up in the live stream. "Ms. XX, you're under arrest for identity fraud. Come with us now." The woman who had been yelling 3, 2, 1, links up, froze on the spot. Her brainless fans in the comments were equally stunned. They watched in disbelief as the police took away the host they'd been watching. The comment section went wild. "What the heck? Her identity is actually fake. Is this for real? Is this all an act? The police uniforms look real, not props. Oh my God, I'm watching a criminal get arrested live on stream. Good job. The stuff she sold was terrible quality. I complained so many times, but they never did anything about it." Soon, the live stream was forced to shut down. The police informed us that the woman known as Ms. Arrogant was actually named Monica. She worked as a cook in the archaeology team. In recent months, she had been live streaming and selling products using the fake title, PhD Mom. She even created a fake Facebook account using my son's name to further strengthen her false identity. But no one ever suspected her before. In fact, her fake identity had attracted many fans and earned her a lot of money. She only began to feel threatened after I arrived. She thought I was another fake like her and tried to crush me using every trick possible. When she finally realized I was actually Alexis's mom, she started threatening me and vandalizing my door. She really tried hard to hide what she was doing. But she was also incredibly stupid. She was willing to break the law just for money. The police told us Monica admitted everything after being arrested. She even said she would apologize to me and my son, hoping we'd forgive her. I refused her immediately. I wasn't going to forgive someone like that. To do that would be helping and encouraging her crimes. She must face legal punishment. Later, I found out the Weibo account, a tiny ordinary pebble, had been suspended. The Proud Woman account was also closed. Soon, the police's official announcement quickly reached the top of the trending list. The story was about Ms. XX pretending to be a PhD mom to sell products online. She tricked people and hurt the reputation of the real mother and son involved. The suspect has been arrested, and further details will be disclosed later. After reading the notice, I let out a long sigh of relief. Chapter 8. My son and I returned to our neighborhood entrance. There stood my ex-husband Samir, pacing anxiously by the gate. As soon as he saw me, his eyes lit up. "Lara, I've been waiting at the station forever and you never came." He turned and saw our son. After a quick surprise, he stepped forward and slapped him on the head. "Troublemaker. Do you know how much trouble you've caused your mom?" Our son stared at Samir in shock. He hadn't seen his father in years, and now the man had just slapped him out of nowhere. I quickly pulled him aside and spoke up in his defense. "This has nothing to do with our son. Why did you hit him?" "I'm only this worried because I saw how upset that woman made you. I was worried about you. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. When I heard what happened from you, I dropped everything and flew here right away. But you completely forgot about me. I waited at the train station for hours, and you didn't even answer my calls." I rubbed my nose, feeling embarrassed. Honestly, the moment I laid eyes on my son, I completely forgot about our arrangement. I left my phone at home. "Well, the problem's sorted now. Let's go home. Alexis, I'm making a big dinner tonight to welcome you home." "Thanks, Mom." Samir asked hesitantly, "Is there any food for me?" I looked him up and down. His shirt was wrinkled, clearly from rushing over. I suddenly felt guilty and softened a little. "All right, come along then." Samir immediately looked happy. I walked ahead, thinking about what to cook for dinner. The father and son were talking back and forth as they walked behind me. As we were about to reach the building entrance, a chubby man suddenly charged at us from the side. He grabbed me by the throat. "Bitch, this is all your fault. You called the cops and got Monica thrown in jail. I'll end you." It was the man from the live stream. His grip was so strong I couldn't break free even when I struggled as hard as I could. Suddenly, I could barely breathe and began to lose consciousness. Just then, someone came flying in with a kick from behind. Samir kicked him flying. "Bastard. You're completely lawless. How dare you try to kill someone?" Samir's eyes blazed with anger as he pinned the man down, punching him repeatedly in the face. Blood soon appeared on the man's face. Our son rushed over and held me steady. "Mom, are you okay?" I coughed uncontrollably, taking a moment to catch my breath before hoarsely saying, "I'm okay." Looking at the beaten man with his face covered in blood, I said hoarsely, "Call the police. Arrest him." The chubby man was arrested. After questioning him, they found out he really did know Monica. However, he wasn't her husband. He was her secret boyfriend. He had his own family with a wife and kids, but had been cheating on them with Monica for years. His family had no idea. After this mess, his wife immediately divorced him and took the children and all their belongings. The man was put in prison for trying to kill someone. Monica's case wasn't as serious, but she was charged with inciting others to commit crimes and face legal punishment. She had to give back the stolen money and pay us for the emotional harm. She also went to jail. They got what they deserved. The day I found out about the court's decision, I was at the supermarket with my son picking vegetables. Pushing the shopping cart, he asked casually, "Mom, do you think you and Dad could ever get back together? I can tell he still cares about you." I paused, my hand hovering over the vegetables. Suddenly, I remembered the day we split up. We were both young and hot-headed back then. We got into a silly fight, and before we knew it, we were divorced. So many years have flown by. Seeing me lost in thought, my son continued, "You're home alone all the time. It makes me really worried. If you're still into Dad, maybe I could help you two get back together?" Matchmaker? She rolled her eyes. "You're always out there, and I'm still wondering when you'll find me a daughter-in-law. Stop worrying about me being bored at home. Just hurry up and give me a grandson already." Our son immediately zipped his lips with a zipping gesture. I couldn't help laughing and continued picking vegetables. "Let's make sweet and sour pork ribs tonight." Without waiting for him to answer, I turned and looked at him. "Don't forget to call your dad over. It's his favorite." Our son froze for a moment, then his face lit up with pure joy. He nodded eagerly. I smiled and gave his head a playful pat, then marched ahead with big strides. After everything that happened, I finally realized Samir still cares about me. As for whether we can remarry, well, that's something we'll figure out later. The door suddenly flew open. My son, who I hadn't seen for 2 years, suddenly showed up. He was wearing a trench coat with messy hair. He looked very tired, as if he had just rushed back. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. "Mom." The heavy feeling in my heart finally went away. But in the next moment, excitement gave way to worry and defeat. He didn't even warn him first, just smacked his head out of nowhere. "You little rascal. Where did you get another mom from?" My son froze in shock and stared at me with confusion. "Another mom? Did you get me a godmother?" "Oh, by the way, our captain mentioned you called him. Is that true? Is everything okay at home?" I rushed back as soon as I heard the news, but then I realized my phone had died. Seeing my son like this, I was completely certain this proud woman was definitely a liar. I quickly took out my phone and showed him the photos I'd saved from her Facebook. "Then tell me, what's going on with these photos? Who is this woman? Why are you in pictures with her?" He took the phone, glanced at the screen, and his face instantly clouded over. "She's just a crazy person." My son quickly told me everything. Clearly, this woman was the cook for the dig team. At first, she was kind to everyone and praised them as top experts in the country. She had never met someone with a PhD before, so she often asked to take photos with them. They were just some photos, not worth getting upset over. But it turned out she wanted to use these photos to find a match for her daughter. Her daughter took a liking to my son, and she tried to set them up. But my son is all about his job and shows zero interest in dating. As time went on, he began to stay away from her. A few days ago, while he was napping in the lounge, she even snapped a selfie with him. When the camera shutter clicked, my son woke up. She didn't apologize and even claimed he'd be her son-in-law someday, so why should he be scared? My son was so angry that he had her removed and reported it to his higher-ups. As a result, the woman got fired. After everything, I never saw her again. Who knew she'd even dare to pretend to be you? My son shouted angrily. "That Facebook account isn't mine either. She not only pretended to be you, but also made a fake account acting like me. She's completely crazy." Hearing this, I finally felt at ease. Honestly, I was worried she might actually have something to do with my son. But even so, I couldn't let her off that easily. "Let's go report this to the police," my son said decisively. "You said she was selling stuff under my name, didn't you? A scammer like her must have tricked so many people. And the red paint on the door, if she really did that, she can't get away with it." We both had the same idea and went straight to the police station. But at that moment, I suddenly realized I seemed to have forgotten something. What was that? Never mind. I'll figure something out later.